Let's get into the envelope of success.
Oh.
What is the envelope of success?
Akushaye mfana
The
wami.
camera there, can you zoom him in there? He's going to illustrate the envelope of success. Okay, there's your camera there.
Okay. So better kanje le envelope of success. For every voice, there's an invoice. I get paid for teaching this to professionals who are willing to pay me a couple of thousands. But I love you, my people, as Africans. I'll share this with you for free. I got this inspiration in 2004, and I will share this with you. So take a piece of paper and put a square on your piece of paper. I hope when the young man is editing, you can actually maybe just do a nice envelope and then place it as a cutaway.
Yeah.
We have John. Yeah, we make a change. Then we establish an animation. Ibe mnandi na ibe sexy. Yeah. So you put a line there and you put another line there. So then you end up with something looking like this. That looks like an envelope, literally. Then this is line number 1. This is line number 2. This is line number 3. This is line number 4. This is line number 5. And this is line number 6. Then you have 6 lines that create this kind of an envelope. And out of the 6 lines, then you have 4 triangles that are inside the 6 lines. That's triangle number A, triangle number B, triangle number C, and triangle number D. So now I want to unpack this, and I'll give you the stencil on the top side so that you can unpack it for yourself. Initially, this is actually what I might call a self-development tool. DJ, self-development tool. How do you do a profile for yourself? How do you package yourself? Number 2, how do you package your family? Number 3, how do you package your business? It's a strategy. How do you package your community? 4, how do you package your country? 5, ultimately, the continent and the world at large. If I had a way of talking to the rest of the world on one big microphone, I would say all of us, we needed necklaces that had this envelope of success so that it becomes a brand on which we can look at every day to know what it is all about. So let me unpack it for you. Line number 1 speaks of first things first. When it comes to building of any society, when it comes to developing of any individual, when it comes to building of any family, we have seen families collapse. Why? Because we didn't do the first things first. Then ask for marriage after that. It's a disaster waiting to happen. You want to start buying a car before you receive your profits for it. It's a disaster waiting to happen. Number 2, line number 2, build solid foundations. This speaks of family foundations. This speaks of academic foundations. This speaks of relationships, creating solid networks. Because when all this stuff comes crumbling down, you need a base on which you can fall on. And if you get a job, for example, job, then DJ walks out of the picture and you don't have the qualifications, you've been working there for 8 years, you're a fool. Favor got you in. When you're inside, then hey, fukuza mfethu. Zabalaza, vali ikhala. Imetrika iko, hamba kuma night school, valala. Certificate awunayo, valala, valala. So that when the man who put you into space moves out of the picture, you don't move away with him. Because you don't have the base that supports where you are sitting. And many people undermine the value of family. Right there. And family becomes the basis. When everything collapses, you want a soft landing where you can come and sit at home and people who cannot judge you, people who will accept you, people who will be able to live with you, and life can go on. A man whom can give you a trousers and give you a pair of shoes. And it's not an issue with Facebook. You need that base that supports you. Line number 3 speaks of understand your limitations. Because where your limitations are, that's where other people's abilities begin. Many of us who want to start ventures, we think that we're going to be all-rounders. That we're going to be doing everything from A to Z. You're lying to yourself. You don't know how to market. You don't know how this stuff works. You don't know how books work in terms of accounting. You don't know how transportation works. You don't know how legal issues and legal expectations work. So don't move into things that you don't know. Because when you get to court and you say, I did not know, it's not an excuse. So understand your limitations. This for me presents an opportunity of where do you want to develop into. So, number one, first things first. Number two, if a boy wants to sleep with you, show him an empty finger first and say, turu, 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 turu. And when you put something there, all other doors can open. But if you start by opening here, and then we swell up here, and then you show the middle finger, you are swearing. And line number 4 speaks of have clear goals in mind. Where do you want to go?
That's 3.
That's number 4. One,
number 4,
first things first, build solid foundations, understand your limitations.
Yes.
Because that tells you of your network. Where do you need to plug into other people and to other organizations that can add value to what you're doing? You're doing very well in More Fire, but I bet you're not doing everything. You have learned now that hey, when it comes to branding, three ideas. And the boys who can go home, fuck my mouse, but looking some color, but looking everything, but try to do it yourself.
You can't.
So understand your limitations.
There's never an I in team.
Have clear goals in mind. What do you want to achieve? We say in philosophy, fools keep on going even after they have arrived. Because if you don't know where you're going to go past the bus stop. How mfethu ubufuna i6 by 9 by what isifikile naye uzovuleka englek izigiphani la. So have clear goals in mind, and these goals, by the way, are not written in stone. You can always extend them, but you need to celebrate yourself when you have moved from where you were to a certain level. Like in your space now, you deserve a party for yourself. You look at where you're coming from, you look at where you are, and say, I have achieved this milestone. Boom! Put a peg there. Then set up new goals. You re-evolve this whole cycle again. To say, okay, now 4 becomes 1. So what must I need to start doing now? What kind of networks do I need and background? What are my limitations in my new goals? What are the new goals? So it's not written in, it can actually become a revolving cycle of success. Then number 5, learn to cope with success. And it got to my head. Sometimes you shoot so fast to the top that you miss some certain steps. And nature might teach you to come back again and walk slowly so that you learn to cope with success, because success can become intoxicating. Number 6, learn to cope with failure. Failure is never final. Success is never limited. The fact that you failed simply means that you have found one method that doesn't work. So go back again. And many of us, when we fall, we ask for a blanket. I only did to veil. It could be divorce, man. Pick up your bags. It could be bankruptcy. Pick up your bags. It could be a failed idea. Pick up your bags. It's not final. The man who created lights, he had 1,000 experiments. And every day when he made another experiment, he says, I found one method that doesn't work. He went back again. The whole world today is bright from a man who did more than 1,000 experiments, because you learn how to cope with failure. Failure is a lesson. It's a class where you're perfecting yourself. So first things first, solid foundations, understand your limitations, have clear goals in mind, learn to cope with success, learn to cope with failure. A, look after your physical health. Health is wealth. Without good health, even the richest man is poor. B, look after your mental development. Grow your brains, because that's the biggest asset that you have. Brains will give you access to resources and ideas to make more money. C, have spirituality connection right on your top side. Because when all things come crumbling down, people become spiritual and look for that basis. You don't need to wait for disaster to become spiritual. Develop it on your way up. And D, create a healthy social network system. So if you become too physical, you become a gym master. If you become too intellectual, you become a snob. If you become too spiritual, you end up staying on a roof of a house or on a mountain by yourself with no one to talk to. If you just become too social, you become as a gig and a cooler box man. The issue is not which one is which, but balancing your life between your physical health, your mental health, your spiritual health, and your social health. So first things first, build solid foundations, understand your limitations, clear goals in mind, learn to cope with success, learn to cope with failure, look after your health physically, look after your health mentally, look after your health spiritually, and have a healthy social life. I thank you.